Hi listeners, welcome to my channel. On 8th of August, Sun in Leo comes together with Moon in Leo at 16 degree 14 minutes, forming a new moon. This new moon prompts us to seed a new start colored in the bold colors of Leo with an embedded need for change and freedom of Uranus, which is the key influence of this new moon. Whatever be the focus of breakthrough of this Leo new moon for you, because this one does come with some sort of shackles of one form or another being taken off, remember that Leo new moon is motivated by heart's desire to have fun, to dance, and to feel alive again. So whatever be your breakthrough, even if the process to it looks painful, its end game is to remove a cloud on your head permanently. Expect grand. Subscribe if you haven't, contribute if you want to, and get the free transcript of these videos in your mailbox. All links are in description. I'm grateful for you and for your company to experience these transits together. My name is Charu and I'm your host on this journey. Let's begin. Sun, the ruler of Leo, is meeting Moon in the zodiac sign of Leo. This quintessentially connects us instinctively to the very source of life. Whatever makes us feel alive, whatever or whoever is the center of our universe, is seeded over the course of next 2 weeks through a process of crisis that we need to get through. Moon in Leo is not impressionable, which makes it the purest form of you. And in being reborn as a new moon in a sign ruled by the sun, it prompts a rebirth of the identity of an individual. The I am of an individual is reborn. The identity pure and uniquely which belongs to oneself, devoid of impressions of external parties, is born. We are given the opportunity to plant a new seed of an identity enriched by the qualities of archetype of Leo, which is positive, assertive, noble, generous, vital, mentally strong, and decisive. There is a rebirth in our capacity to lead, to initiate, to persist with that initiation, and have a hopeful and determined attitude towards the life ahead of us. In a frenetic bout of need for freedom, mostly from our own old design, we are driven to refuse to recognize any limitations, even if that means we might need to bash our head against the brick wall for a while before we break through. We are given a confidence to follow through by forces beyond us, because what we normally deliver through the Leo part of our chart is a gift or uniqueness that we have been blessed from forces beyond us. For the next 2 weeks, to deliver this, we must live in the lion's skin and not the sheep's skin. Leo new moon makes choices which are driven by the heart, but those are powerful choices with long-term effects or irrevocable implications. Energy which builds to the Leo new moon is very intense, and we have seen that in this case it was explosive, and it will continue to be explosive as we have been discussing since early July, when the 𝗙𝗙 square, which is giving birth finally to this new moon, started at first. A 𝗙𝗙 square, it shows an impossible choice, which focuses on changing the stubborn, unstable, or constant parts of our life, which once did create value for us, but now they have become the weight that hold us back from progressing forward. Let's look at the key themes that Leo new moon brings up. Leo new moon normally brings powerful initiation in the themes that are linked to its archetype over the course of next 2 weeks, with 2 days after the new moon being a good time to initiate, which means that around 10th would be a very good time to start on the lines of these themes of Leo new moon. I have mentioned by sign in your August reading what these themes are, and I'll leave the link in the description for you. But personal themes generally linked to it include children, creativity, drama, sports, theater, pleasure, fun, excitement, entertainment, unique talents, finer things of life. Expensive, valuable, high quality assets like gold, acquiring assets, love and matters of heart, gambling or risky investments, grand events, athletic feats, talent feats, leadership achievement, everything done through consistency and, of course, with the trademark flair and over the top touch of Leo. Global themes that are linked to it include the royals, the kings, the governments, management, rulers, famous people, entertainment industry, fire, nuclear energy, financial industry, stock market, athletic events, fuels, gold, events of impact on multiple governments, rulers, financial industry, and influential creatives that normally will come under news, and they will come under a new start or will show up in terms of key events over the course of next 2 weeks. We are given the impetus to start afresh on these themes, plant a new seed over the course of next 2 weeks, which will come for fruition 6 months down the road, and it comes with an extra dose of explosive energy and surprises due to Uranus influence, making this a very powerful initiation which would break a few shackles and cross many boundaries in the process of it. There is no moving back from Leo initiations, and there is very little room of negotiation. It's a steady fire which needs to burn through whatever is in the way to its destination, not for the destruction of it, but driven by a singular desire to leave a trail ablaze with one's passions and desires. Let's look at the history of this new moon so you can look back at certain dates for your own reference, personal charts reference. Whenever we have had eclipses in the sign of the new moon, there is a not again element to those new moons, and maybe you can hear it in my voice because I'm a fixed sign, so we have been through eclipses in this. So there's a little bit of tired, if I may say, energy which comes with it because you have been through so many iterations of this new moon where we just had eclipses. Not again because we don't want to do it anymore, but because we have already had about 1.5 years of eclipses in it over the second half of 2017 and 2018 in it. So we feel that this area of our life has already gone through so much tribulations that we can't take any more change in it. But somehow the process does not end with the eclipses because these kind of new moons are offshoots of those eclipses. They deliver a part of the change that those eclipses promised to bring about long term in our life. The last eclipse in Leo happened on 21st of January 2019, and that also happened at a critical degree. Just as the full moon, which will happen on 22nd of August 2021 in Aquarius would be. This month, because of us touching those eclipses back again, we could see the themes that played out with the eclipse, especially in 2018, and especially with that eclipse of 21st of January 2019, which was activated since October of 2018, we will see them play out once more. But what's happening is that the eclipses happened in a reverse polarity. So there's a reversal of priorities in this month. The balance of what you want and need for your own self, for your own pride, for your own personal path, versus what is asked of you because of others in your life, that will come into focus in the month of August. With both the new moon that is happening right now and the full moon that will play out on 22nd of August. And those were the themes that were brought out by the eclipses in 2018 as well. But what's happening right now is that the Leo new moon is the initiation. So the balance is tilted more towards the part of you that has to choose you. The balance that comes into focus, which some will call between what you want and need for yourself and for your own pride versus what we need to do for the welfare of everyone else. Some could call it the balance between proud and brave versus being timid and not ruffling the feathers. Or some might call it being egoistic versus being all accommodating for everyone. It will once again come in focus in coming days. But we choose differently this time. It's Leo season. We choose ourselves. No matter how selfish or egoistic it looks to anyone else, because you cannot lead from a place of weakness in this season. So an element of hiding behind the group, behind the crowd, an element of welfare for all is released to make space for your new expanded identity. The one that you can be proud of, that the one that you can feel is something that you want to leave behind yourself. This is a very positive degree. The Leo new moon is happening at the degree of joy and power of new beginnings, as much as the new moon does not feel like that because it's coming through a process of crisis. But the Leo new moon does mark the surge of life and love after a major crisis. The light after the long night of the soul, as Rudyard described it. Light and life, which was once flooded by waters of feeling, comes out singing in the cleansed and refreshed mind. Consciousness and inspiring moments of enjoyment. Peak experience that one feels after overcoming many crises of life. But this new start, as I said, it comes with a challenge, it comes with a crisis. Uranus is squaring this new moon. It is causing impulses, sudden events, sudden upsets, disruption of routine, sudden arguments, sudden separations, sudden breakdowns of restriction, sudden breakdowns of mechanical things, ego conflicts, disagreements. It's capable of exciting the masses to rebel against the rulers, to bring about revolution and even war. It rules radioactive elements, inventions, geniuses, brainwaves, telepathy, occult, and astrology. We would see both breakthroughs and breakdowns on the road to it, especially in the next 2 weeks. We would be quick to jump to conclusions, react negatively to what's said to us, as we have nothing to block. We want nothing to block what we want because it's driven by the heart. What we want is driven by our heart. So anything that comes in the way to it, we will rebel against it. There is a need to set free and move forward differently. We crave excitement in the moment, and we can act completely out of character. This aspect specifically affects our nerves and blood pressure, as well as it stokes the anger within us. To some extent, that is the whole objective of it. Especially fixed signs around 16 degree would experience this very vividly, as I described in your monthly readings. Passions and emotions, they run very high, and we have a choice on how we want to direct them. The harder it feels, the harder this frequency, this vibration feels, the more there is a need to shake things up, because it's bringing up old archaic parts of our life which haven't changed, or we are resisting from changing. Curbing your need to change is not a solution here. It's like holding something in your fist while it's exploding. There is no point in that. Understanding the why of the volatility you feel is key. That's why we went into that in detail in your July reading by sign, as well as in the volatility video I did at the early part of July to gauge this situation. Because it's important to understand it instead of saying it's just a moment and it will pass, because it's coming not from the current moment only. This can be a key catalyst of change, daring you to start a new bold chapter of your life. A new bold chapter which we have discussed in your August readings. Sometimes with this aspect, we are asked to choose, to make a very, very tough choice. To choose freedom or expensive things, independence or warmth of love. Choose between following your own vibration or following the consistent path that has led to success in the past. Choice between being the light and the love that enthralls people by being charming, by being entertaining, or be the one that burns it all down because they just want to explode out of anything fake and restrictive. This is a contradiction that plays out within all of us, especially the theme of wanting autonomy and freedom versus wanting intimacy and depth. And we always assume one or the other role in our life while blaming the others in our life for the other part of it. Like if we are the one who takes the road of autonomy, we blame the other for craving too much closeness or intimacy, or vice versa. Being conflicted in the life choices which are being made right now is okay because it's a tough choice. World is conflicted. You can see it play out externally. World is conflicted within itself, with both the camps strongly believing that their choice is the right one. Maybe if the love for what we are creating is so enormously unconditional, it would become an easier choice. It would become much more easier to go for it despite the freedom or the wildness that it takes away from us. It's so unconditional and secure within itself that we do not need a constant reassurance or feedback in name of applause or warm expressions to feel energized to keep going at it. Then you could put your wild self out there on the stage without the fear of how you're received. Or you could walk the path never walked with the flair and the boldness of the one that rules over the hearts of many purely by being boldly in their own element. Being unconditionally in love for what you're trying to seed, what you're trying to create, whether it's a person or it's a mission or it's a project, that can make it so much easier to go through. How you love or create or play or bring up your kids can become the expression of the freedom you crave and the unique you want to leave behind. If your life feels like we're trapped in our own design of how we love, who we love, what we value, what we hold on to, this very explosive aspect, it encourages us to push through to a new model, to find a new balance or a new rhythm between intimacy and autonomy, between the need to make a splash and the need to be ourselves in the process to it, between personal joy and what we materially value and hold on to. Instead of abandoning one path or one choice or demonizing one choice, maybe we need to find, if not a balance, but a new rhythm which takes both into account. It gives us an opportunity to create something that is a good mix of our need for security, money, and our need to create something from the heart. It challenges us to create a good mix of the two. Maybe the children who act rebellious could be the seed of growth beyond what we have ever created. Their rebellion could inspire us, could show us a way to a new way of existence that we did not think possible. Maybe the artists need to learn to earn income from unique sources which are unstable, but they have not tried to earn through those sources. Maybe the creative in us who wants to live in passion may need to adjust to the expense or the cost that comes with it, or accept that what we derive security and value from would need to change on the path to it. Some very worthy risks for passions are taken. when we accept that what we owned so far or what we own in future does not truly own us. And what we created in the past was always meant to be a stepping stone or the ground on which the next level of challenges are faced. Rooted in this Uranus square, whatever we start anew, whatever we seed, is to advocate a change, is to bring about a change. And even though that change might seem like a very personal change, but through your own example of that, you would create that change at large. Let's talk about Uranus retrograde because that's what is coming forward. Uranus is standing still around 15 degree Taurus, 14 degree 48 minutes to be exact, and it will go retrograde on 20th of August. As I said, that is a key influence into this new start, and it will be a key influence on the road to 20th of August because when a planet stands still, it becomes a very strong influencing factor. Uranus represents, standing at 15 degree Taurus, a phase in our life when our previous efforts have gotten us to some level of social success. But as the saying goes, nothing fails like success. After an initial success, or perhaps after a long period of success, we forget the need to constantly recreate and reinvent ourselves. So the crisis that reaches its peak with Uranus turning retrograde at this degree is driven by our social ambition, or what was once a social ambition, and then in one or the other form, that ambition or status or materially valuable it is being seemingly attacked. We instinctively think it's a crisis or an attack or not, but it's truly an impetus that is needed to uproot us because nothing fails like success. Because we stop growing from there, we forget the need to constantly recreate and reinvent ourselves. Because we have been planted in the soil, we cannot grow any further in. It does not have the necessary ingredients to take us any further than where we have reached. We do not go to the next level empty-handed. We go to the next level with the experiences and the maturity that the previous phase has given us. Nothing is wasted. But the past soil that we were planted in, it becomes inhabitable. Uranus leaves the parts of our life unusable, like a nuclear reaction. You can never habitat that place ever again. You just cannot readjust to relive it again or replant seeds of anything new on the same ground because the very soil becomes toxic. So whatever is coming out of it is going to be poisonous. It's all rendered useless. So we can move on from there. There's no potential ever left in it. So we do not keep trying to return with a hope. It's a sign to move to the next level of frequency. And we have to do that with total physical, mental, psychological reboot with this new moon. Once we accept that soil has been rendered useless to us, the needed courage is given to meet the crisis which we need to get through to get there. It becomes a phase that we must go through versus our whole existence. This degree of Taurus reveals character under adverse circumstances, which we would be asked to reveal in coming days. We would transition to a new level where we would have to accept crisis, go through it graciously, because on that soil of that crisis, our higher consciousness will be built. And all of this is happening as we are undergoing the Yod activation I talked about in the August reading. All the planets in Leo, they're going through that initiation, and you can possibly feel it as they're transitioning. We would experience this in our fullness with the 19th or 20th of August Sun in Leo opposition to Jupiter in Aquarius, which is the activating planet, and we would register the information coming through to us either through a conversation or some sort of messaging on 10th of August when Mercury in Leo opposes Jupiter. This is illumination of the mind to what we did not see before as an option. And for some of us, it will open the path we did not see that existed right before us. But the previous ground had to be rendered completely useless to get there. These moments are the ones we would look back as the critical moments of bend in the road when our life took a turn in a different direction. And like all births, these don't come with ease. Though for them to come to pass, we need to embrace the messy process it takes us through. The temporary exhilaration of release, the moment in which most giving birth seem to see God or a version of their own higher power, shows you that you're capable of much more than you give yourself the credit for. It's tough to carry that euphoria for life, but it normally lives in form of what you allowed yourself to create when you allowed yourself to trust you. We all have someone or something in our life which came to pass in those moments. Something or someone you birthed despite the crisis, when you finally believed in your capabilities. In these birthing pain moments of Leo new moon, try to remember that version of you, because you will be called upon to get all of your strength together to get through this crisis, because you're becoming more of that and lot less. That's what I have for you. I hope you have a great next 2 weeks ahead of yourself with this initiation. I'll see you in the next video now. Thank you.